News. Here we go. We begin with the media. Media bias. Boring. Talk about it all the time. Stop it right now. I talk about it because the more and more these scandals are getting covered by Congress, the more truth we learn. And the more we learn about Obamacare, the more the media exposes itself as a shill for this administration and sold out to the left-wing ideology that it has. Now, does that mean they're sitting there conspiring against the world to make it a progressive / regressive world? No, it's just they have a willful blindness at times. Sometimes there is corruption, and sometimes they just don't. They're deluded. Example, Todd Starnes. No, excuse me. Todd Starnes wouldn't. No, of course not. No, I'm talking about Chuck Todd. Chuck Todd of NBC News, speaking to the report that the CBO gave that 1.5 to 2.5 million people would not be working due to the Affordable Care Act. And he took issue with the interpretation of what the CBO said by those evil, wascally Republicans. Here is Chuck Todd. Roll it.
Now, the CBO isn't saying that the healthcare law is cutting or killing 2.5 million jobs. But in the world of sound bites and 30-second TV ads, it will be tougher for Democrats to argue that the healthcare law isn't having an impact on the economy. Unsurprisingly, Republicans immediately seized on the report and spun it the way they want to spin it. On healthcare, a lot of your Republican friends are taking it and calling it is an unfair statement to them. They should not be saying this is costing 2 million jobs. Is that right?
Not quite. I mean, this is the flip side of the same coin. If you go to the end of this, 2024, the CBO is basically saying, look, supply equals demand. We're back to full employment. So one way to characterize it is to say, well, you know, we've given benefits to workers who get them regardless of whether they work or not, and they choose not to. The other way to say it is employers cannot offer a wage high enough to lure them into the job and make money. You're killing a job either way. It's gone.
But if the job, it's not as if they're eliminating jobs.
Did you hear that? Either way, the job's gone. But it's not his way that they're limit. I mean, you feel sorry for him. You just want to pet him. So it's okay. We should into the cornfield. It's a tough one. Again, liberalism's destruction because we actually implemented it and we're seeing how it fails. It's painful. You gotta smile sometimes or you're just gonna cry. What else makes me cry? Well, it doesn't make me cry, but sometimes the press actually tries to do its job. They ask questions and they expect answers. Like this AP reporter. Roll it.
Second question is, am I understanding what you're saying correctly, that the change in incentives for people is not a net drag on economic growth?
I'm saying
2.5 million people change their choice about working. Right. That is not a net drag on economic growth.
Right. First of all, I haven't accepted the number. There's a lot of factors that go into that number, not all of them in uncertainty. And second of all, I'm saying that that whole analysis refutes the claim that this is about employers cutting back on jobs and increasing unemployment, and that has been a central argument against the Affordable Care Act. Instead, it's this analysis itself, which isn't a complete analysis, but this analysis itself is about the choices that people make and the new options that they have.
But you didn't answer my question.
I could repeat that again, if that would help.
But you didn't answer the question. The question was, if 2.5 million people change their choice about working, that is not a net drag on the economic growth? On economic growth? That was a question. Didn't answer it. Furman, White House economic advisor. Wow. Well, they also try to say, well, and they did this with the individual mandate. Remember this? It only affects a few million people. I mean, that's a really relatively small piece of the economy. Now, you'd think, no, they'd have to be absolute communication morons to do this. Communication morons? Does that even make sense? No. They would be, this is so ridiculously it's just a stupid thing to say. You just don't. What do I mean? Roll it.
With disabilities, and what options does it give them?
Medicare and Social Security are aimed at primarily people of a certain age, seniors. So when you talk about older people, that's a whole separate equation than the ACA. That this is a group of human beings who are in a program that are of all ages.
Right. First of all, this number itself is a small percentage of the overall economy. Second of all, this number itself is about effectively choices of people. And third, it doesn't reflect the full set of factors that go into it.
Again, really didn't answer the question, and trying to marginalize 1.5 million to 2 million and 2.5 million people is not a wise move. You obviously don't speak to those people, and then trying to equate them to the senior citizens who are receiving Social Security and Medicare. Remember, this is what happens. There's no conspiracy here. This is when you try to defend something where all the lights are on, and you can't really hide the ball. You can't promise something else. You can't say, oh, tomorrow it'll work. No, here's the reality. No, you can't spin it.